In Chinese culture, food has much more than just a vital function. It also has a significant social role. Meals can be a time for a family get-together, a friends reunion, or a business meeting. Even the way that food is distributed helps reinforce this social aspect. All dishes are put in the middle and shared between all participants. Usually, a rotating platter, that is known in English as lazy Susan, is used to facilitate the distribution. The atmosphere in a Chinese restaurant is usually cheerful and noisy. It's perfectly acceptable to talk in a loud voice and to shout out 服务员 when calling the waiter. For more privacy and quietness, most restaurants have private rooms that you can use for free provided your order reaches a certain minimum fee. So now let's talk about food. Chinese people are very proud of their food, and they have every right to be. Chinese food is probably one of the most diverse in the world, and certainly doesn't resume itself to the 5 or 6 dishes that you can usually find in Chinese restaurants in Western countries. Chinese cuisine uses a wide variety of ingredients that differ from one region to another, and there are totally 48 ways of cooking them, such as stir-frying, deep-frying, steaming, roasting, boiling, and so on. We're now going to go through the specificities of the 4 main regional cuisines that can be found in China. The first one is called Yue Cai and comes from the Guangdong or Canton area in the south. It's perhaps the one that is most familiar to us Westerners because Cantonese people were the first ones to emigrate to the West, and therefore most Chinese restaurants abroad are run by Cantonese and the food is close to Yue Cai. Because of the warm climate in the south and the proximity of the sea, Yue Cai is probably the cuisine that offers the most options of ingredients to use. In fact, there's a common expression in China saying that Cantonese people eat everything that's in the air except planes, everything that's in the water except boats, and everything that's on the land except cars. Preparation is quite fast, as most of the dishes are fried just a few minutes before serving. Common dishes include seafood, fresh vegetables, and mushrooms. Because of the heat, it's important to consume a lot of liquids, and therefore soup and tea are usually part of each meal. Another dish that is especially popular for breakfast is rice porridge, and on weekends, Cantonese people love to go for what they call morning tea or zao cha, with dim sum, which are little buns and raviolis that are filled with meat, shrimps, or vegetables, and then steamed in wooden crates. In the pictures, you can see a dish of shrimps, a green vegetable called cai xin, a rice porridge, and an assortment of dim sum. The second type of cuisine comes from the region of Sichuan in the west and is called chuan cai. The dishes are usually oily and spicy, with the use of chili peppers and Sichuan peppers that have the effect of making your tongue go numb if you crack one open in your mouth. It is believed in traditional Chinese medicine that spicy food is a good way to balance the humid climate and keep the body heat up. A common chuan cai meal is hot pot, a pot of boiling soup in which you can cook various types of meat and vegetables. Snacks made of spicy dried meat are also very popular. The first picture is a boiled fish, and next to it is the hot pot, and below are gongbao chicken and some snacks. The third category is lu cai. It finds its origin in the Shandong province in the northeast. Because of the cold weather, fewer types of vegetables are available, and rice isn't grown, being therefore replaced by staple food made from wheat, such as dumplings, steamed bread, and noodles. People eat meat, such as pork, mutton, beef, and duck, in order to gather proteins, and a well-known dish is the Beijing roast duck. Here on the screen you can see a dish of beef, some dumplings, a Beijing roast duck, and a steamed bread called mantou. The last of the 4 main Chinese cuisines is su cai. It can be found in the east part of the country, in the area around Shanghai, Suzhou, and Hangzhou. Located between the north and the south, it is at the crossroads of both cuisines, and can offer excellent dishes of meat or seafood. The historical influence of the colonial time brought a taste for sweetness that is usually absent in other Chinese cuisines. It is therefore common to find sweet and sour dishes, as well as cakes and desserts as part of su cai. This cuisine is also the one that is considered the most refined of all four, with the use of rare ingredients such as shark fin or sea cucumbers. This is why su cai is usually chosen for special occasions, such as a wedding or the visit of an esteemed guest. In the pictures, you'll find a sweet and sour deep-fried fish, sweet and sour pork, xiaolongbao, which are like dumplings but with both soup and meat inside. And the last one is yangzhou fried rice with shrimps. Ordering food is not an easy task, as it's usually done by one person for the whole table. This responsibility usually goes to the person inviting, unless there's a special guest, who might then be asked to pick some dishes as a sign of courtesy. It is common to order more dishes than people sitting at the table, even though one dish can easily feed 2 to 3 people, just to be absolutely sure that there will be no shortage of food. It's important to keep in mind that 30 years ago, most people in China were still quite poor, and lots of them didn't have enough food to calm their hunger. This is why today, at the end of a meal, instead of asking if you like the food, Chinese people are more likely to ask you if you're full. It is also common when greeting someone to ask, "Did you eat?" instead of "How are you?" Note that smoking is allowed in most restaurants, and the large majority of Chinese men smoke. Alcohol, such as rice wine or beer, are often drunk, especially for celebrations. The bill is never split, and usually paid by the person inviting or the person with the highest status, the boss, the oldest, the father of the family, and so on. It's expected to fight for the bill if 2 people have a similar status, or if one wants to show respect to the other, who will still end up paying. So now that you know everything about eating in China, you can share your own Chinese dining experiences in the discussion group. In the supplementary materials, you'll also find an activity that will invite you to introduce more Chinese dishes.